Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. Welcome to the Art of Inspired Selling. I think you know by now, but if you haven't ever joined, my name is Catherine Nunez. I'm the host of this show. The Art of Inspired Selling is a long show format where I interview and converse, interact with leading service based entrepreneurs that are killing it in the new normal. Now that we're getting back to a post COVID status, it's all about winning and it's all about bringing these subject matter experts to you so that you can learn from them and move the needle forward in your business. And today is no different. Today, I'm bringing Priscilla Stephan in, who is an intuitive business strategist and creator. I want to pull her bio over, so I'm actually looking at you guys. She is the creator of the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes, who help soul-driven women entrepreneurs create sustainable, world-changing businesses that support the greater good. Through a powerful combination of practical business strategy together with soul guidance at the, now I'm going to mess it up, the Akashic Records, which we're going to talk about because I just told her I needed more education on that. She excels at helping people identify their zones of genius, step into powerful leadership, and live their purpose profitably. Who doesn't need that? She's the author of the international best-selling book, Soulfluent Leadership Business Guide, Amplify Your Message, Visibility and Profits by Leveraging Your Archetype that support leaders to stay grounded in their vision and primed to lead themselves and their organizations boldly into the future with confidence and sustainable growth. Today, at the end of this conversation, you're going to have a better understanding of where you are in your level of purpose and satisfaction at work, what might have gotten you there. We're going to talk about simple strategies to create greater alignment with your purpose. And we're going to talk about questions to stay grounded to your truth and to course correct as needed. So let's get that written document away so we can free flowly here. And I'm going to welcome my next guest, Priscilla.
Hi, everyone. Whether you're watching us live or in the replay, it's a pleasure to be here with you. We're going to have a fun, practical conversation that it's my intention, will move the needle forward for you and give you some reframes and tools to help your business grow.
That's fabulous. And we have people joining us today. We have some people on Facebook and on YouTube. You guys are welcome. Drop in the chat where you're joining us from. Please bring your questions. This is an interactive show. I'll stop Priscilla as she's talking if there's any questions that we need to have answered. And just welcome everyone to this great Friday. We're wrapping up our summer. Oh my gosh. So Kamal says, hi.
Hi.
And as you guys know, there might be, I might not be able to see where you are if you haven't granted Restream access to your profile. So while Priscilla's talking, I might go on to Facebook or something to grab questions that weren't showing up. So as always, on the Art of Inspired Selling, I like to ask my guests where you're coming from. So
Yeah.
where are you today?
I'm in Northern California.
Great. And you used to live, I'm in San Diego. And so you used to live here and we have a little bit of a common background. And how long have you been in Northern Cal?
A year now, next week.
You like it better than San Diego?
They're different.
Such a politically correct answer. But that's good. And then the second question that I always ask my guests is, because it's the art of inspired selling, right? We're helping people sell more stuff. What inspires you, Priscilla, to get up every day and do what you do to help women in their field, their chosen field, with their purpose-led leadership? What inspires you? Do you have books? Do you have mantras? Do you have morning routines, meditation practices? What do you use to stay on track for yourself?
It's a genuine desire and sense of purpose. I would really say a knowing. And this goes for men and women, but since I work primarily with women, when women utilize their gifts to their maximum potential, they get to change the world. And I'm going to put the parenthesis here that since I believe and I work with women who are in business, right? I help women really channel their gifts to their maximum potential so they can create businesses that really change the world for the better, right? And so really helping women step into their power and into their leadership then gives us room to really be optimal in utilizing these incredible resources and not leave them dormant, so.
And Kamal, we are not going to leave you out. Although Priscilla works primarily with women, I am certain that some of these practices that she's going to talk about are transferable over into anything that you're doing for your business. So we will continue to answer your questions as they come up. All right. So do you want to get right? How long have you been an entrepreneur?
In this iteration as a coach, 12 years this month.
Congratulations. That's a long time. And how long ago did you publish your first book?
I published my first book, which is this one, The Soulfluent Leadership Guide. Tough with my lighting here.
Yeah.
Sorry. I published it in February of this year. So yeah, it's a 8.5 by 11 book, all in color, and
nice.
it's really it's even looks like there's a rainbow. It's hard to see. There's a rainbow here, believe it or not, of color.
Nice.
There you go. So you can really, it's very hands-on and practical. And so yeah, that's the first book, but there's lots more to come. So
and does it have worksheets inside it? I mean,
it does have some
size?
questions. It has examples of businesses. It really, and I'll be talking a little bit more about it. So
Okay.
It definitely helps you understand which of your archetypes is an archetypal based framework, and then how to apply your archetype to create deep alignment so that your gifts really shine as you work in your business in all areas, in terms of leads, as Kamal was asking, leads, marketing, content, business model, team building, so many different areas. I believe in being practical and grounded, because that's where the rubber hits the road, right? You want to know, how does this apply to me? What action steps can I take right away to actually apply it to me, right? Not some cookie cutter thing, but to you, what really is ideal for you.
Right, let me bring the chat back up. All right, so let's get started. We're going to pull the presentation out. I'm playing Vanna Nunez today, not Vanna White. Vanna Nunez.
I like
Vanna
that.
Brown. Vanna Brown. So let's go. You can tell me when to change the slides. If you guys have any questions, I'm working the chat. The stage is yours.
Well, thank you. Well, hi everyone. So a lot has changed in the world, right? And so today we're talking about following your purpose in business when you've gotten off course. And so today I'm speaking primarily to established, ideally service-based women entrepreneurs who feel like their business is both purpose and mission-driven, and you're actively looking to change the world through the vehicle of your business and your services and your talents and your magic. This can apply also certainly to product-based businesses as well. And I invite you today to come with a fertile and open mind. If you have pen and paper handy, there will be some simple exercises and questions that I'll be posing to you today so that you can really, this is interactive. I want you to start to think differently. I want you to touch upon parts of yourself that maybe some questions that you've been afraid of asking, some stuck points where you don't know quite how to move beyond that. So this is about helping you move forward. And so what does inner and what does getting off course mean? I think that there can be so many different notions of that. To me, some thoughts, and even if things are going good in business, something can still feel off. And that can happen on an inner level, internally within yourself. It can happen on an external circumstances or a combination. So feeling off course in purpose in your business can feel like, oh, I'm just bored, I'm uninspired. My business can run perfectly, but it's just not doing it for me anymore. You're kind of going through the motions. Maybe your income has plateaued. Maybe you're feeling burned out. Maybe you've noticed that what used to work doesn't work anymore.
I bet everyone has felt one of those things, especially in the past 2 years, right?
Exactly,
like, I
right?
can't do it. Why am I doing this? Why me? What's going on? Right?
All of the things, right?
Yes.
Or you're just craving more freedom, more flexibility, more creativity. Sometimes you're like, gosh, just just because I'm doing it, or just because I'm making money, or maybe because it sounds good. I'm like, really? Like, is this really just it? And you want to be challenged, or you want to expand your edges, right? So those are some of the inner things. So there's going to be a slide with this that's going to be kind of a handout. So just things for you to start thinking about. But and externally, God, who of us has not been affected by the last 2 to 3 years, let alone just the ups and downs of business, right? So the outer kind of off course can look like just surviving. I know you wrote in your show, it's like, we're not just surviving, we're thriving, but we can feel like we're surviving. We've been terrified, we've been scared, we've been locked indoors. We either because we expected it or it came out of the blue. There's been a shutdown, a breakdown, a pivot that's happened. You're just kind of keeping things afloat. Maybe there have been health issues, or the market has changed, or your team or your culture has gone through a shift, and you're either taking on more than you expected, that's not your zone of genius, or you're shooting yourself to be doing what you think you should do to stay afloat or to grow, but it doesn't feel good. Or it can be all this like cauldron of hodgepodge of things of like, what the heck, And so if any or some of these are happening, I just want to say it's not comfortable, but it is good news, because it is a fertile ground and a fertile space to start to look at what opportunities are available for me to satisfy these inner cravings and these inner desires, and what changes is my business ready for, that will create deeper alignment, so that I can be happier, more fulfilled, not bumping up against myself or issues, and really adapting to the changes. Because really what we're seeing right now is that we are all going through pretty significant inner changes, as well as the collective change in consciousness. And so when these are colliding, it's an opportunity to really evolve, right? We are all evolving. Some are feeling more of a spiritual evolution, going, I don't understand. But we're going to give some context today to what these mean, how this applies to business, and how you can understand yourself better. Because here's the thing, if we take nothing else from today, when you know yourself better, you lead better. You can trust your decisions. You can give yourself some space, some breathing room to connect to what matters most, so that whatever chaos is going outside the world or even within yourself, you can find some room to be grounded and trusting of the process along the way. Make sense?
Yes, let's get going.
All right, so let's change the slide. I love this. I actually don't know where I found this, but this quote is like, you'll never figure out who you really are until you gather the courage to stop being what you are not.
Oh, good. It is a good one.
And I think that I have no doubt that right now we are being called to be more fully expressed in who we are, to say what we mean, to do what we want to do, to not bite our tongue, to put our money and our resources behind what really matters to us and causes that matter, and to really stop and think, how do I want to do business in a way that really reflects who I am today, the person that I want to be, and the kind of planet that I want to see, right? Because there is no denying that change is afoot and that we are the catalyst for change, right? But change requires first a new level of leadership within ourselves, and then it's followed by a new level of leadership externally, right? In our relationships, in our businesses, and all the things. And here's the thing, you've heard it before, right? What got you to here is not what's going to get you to the next level.
Absolutely.
And thank goodness. And oh my gosh, kind of, put your seatbelt on at the same time.
Can I ask,
Yes.
do you think, and as you know, and everybody else listening to this, is I'm a large advocate of women and women of color, especially. And do you feel that this is so important for women today, right? We're finally really stretching our wings and stepping into our voice, and we don't have to be the boys in the locker room anymore. Or
Right.
one of the things I like to get on a soapbox is about, if you finally get a seat at the table, don't just meld into that old pale male boardroom, right? You're there for a reason. Use your voice, and that's why they chose you. Not be just to add color to the boardroom, right? You need
Yes.
to add your voice and understand who you're representing as well.
Absolutely. We are really it is the time. Really is timely, and we're seeing it. We've been bombarded between Black Lives Matter, Me Too, so many injustices in the world, climate change, unethical business practices, pollution. It's so in our face that we can't help but start to expand our thinking outside of our bubbles and into a greater thinking, which is what I'll be talking about. There'll be a whole slide in terms of that. So really our next level of leadership evolution, personally and collectively, isn't about doing more, but it's rather more about, it's a call for more courage and more depth of understanding of ourselves and depth of connection with ourselves and the world. And that really is about more focused action, which is really aligned action that's aligned to your leadership vision, to your talents, and really the change that you want to see in the world. And that means that those old coping mechanisms, right? That inner narrative, those old patterns and habits, people pleasing, lax boundaries, taking on too much, saying yes when you really mean no, keeping a professional persona just to get through things and to get the job done when you really aren't saying what you want to say or being the version of yourself you really feel you ought to be. These are the times when we get to really dismantle those old ways of being that got us to just hustle through and survive and just make the money, get where we want to go. We get to take a step back and say, who do I want to be moving forward? And that's with an exhilarating and sometimes kind of terrifying exploration, but one that we are being called to address and step into more and more now. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And today we'll be talking about the kind of the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes framework that's really about helping you express yourself more out into the world, right? And so this is a quote: "The answer to the world's problems are spiritual in nature. Action is the antidote to despair." This happened in a conversation with a colleague of mine. She lives in San Luis Obispo. She's a climate change activist. And when she said that, I was like, wow, it kind of made sense to me, because a lot of the work I do comes from the lens of the soul, right? We look at you at a soul level. Who are you? What's your innate soul design? What are your gifts and talents to really make a difference in the world? And so it reminds us that, you've heard this before, right? Within are the answers, right? If we are sourcing our decisions and our business decisions and commitments from within our deep inner knowing of truth and love, then we can really be more in alignment with our soul, with our spiritual divine nature, whatever you call it for yourself. And so I do talk about soul. I do speak about divinity, the divine, and spirituality, and that's why people come to me. So if that turns you off, I get it. If this is your jam, stay, because we're going to be talking even more about that as well. And so today it's about unlocking your soulful template for success. That's really important. So today we're going to talk about some of the personal and collective shifts that are affecting our role in business. Some tweaks that we can start to do right away to close those leadership gaps and walk our leadership edges with more grace. How to understand what is your Soulfluent Leadership Archetype and your superpowers. And you can take the quiz at priscillastephan.com/quiz. It's a free quiz to identify which of the 5 archetypes you are. And then uncover some simple strategies and tools to help you grow your business in a way that really reflects your authentic leadership and that reflects our time, your vision, and your goals. I know it's a mouthful, but we can do a lot today. So the key is really to stay curious and to invite curiosity and wonder where there might be confusion and uncertainty. All right, so let's keep going. Let's switch this slide over. Okay, so about me, just a little bit. I'm an intuitive business strategist. I work with women CEOs, founders, fellow mystics and visionaries, change makers, who have established service-based businesses and that are changing the collective, that are supporting the greater good. I'm the creator of the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes and author of the Soulfluent Leadership Business Guide. I've been in business as a coach for 12 years. And I work with conscious leaders and purpose-driven entrepreneurs. And I have gone through multiple iterations and evolutions. I've gone through 3 really painful career changes. In the 12 years as a coach, I've gone through 3 changes in my evolution. I started as a health coach, then shifted into business coaching. And then when I added the Akashic Records, which I know you're going to ask me about.
Akashic Records. See, I got it.
Akashic Records, yeah. I really bring that soul and strategy piece together for, especially for people that are creating purpose and mission-driven businesses. There's like that business, that mission in their soul, right, that wants to be expressed. And they really appreciate the guidance and affirmation and confirmation of that vision to bring that out into the world in a way that feels really in alignment with themselves. So,
I want to ask a question.
yes.
And I'll take the slides out for just a second. I'm not putting you on the hot spot, but you meant some words that I heard that were painful transitions, right? And so for you, you don't have to get into detail, but was it painful because you personally felt like a failure that something wasn't working? Or was it painful, like out of your control, kind of painful? Like, where did that pain come from? Because as I have a mantra up on my whiteboard, and it says, my success is inevitable and I'm open to how it happens. Because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we just get so like set where this has to happen this way, and it has to happen. If it doesn't happen this way, then I'm a failure, right? So elaborate, if you can, just a little bit on those painful moments. What was it that you had to pivot, rechange? Tell me just a little bit about that.
All of those. So I spent 10 years in the environmental policy field. I worked for World Wildlife Fund in Washington, D.C., and I worked with world leaders to improve environmental policy across Latin America specifically. And so I had a graduate degree in that. I had invested 10 years of my life, and I just burned out. I felt like I was putting so much energy and resources, and I wasn't seeing the results on a global scale at the degree and at the speed that I thought really mattered, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I felt devastated. I had no sense of identity, and I had no idea what I was going to do after that. So I felt lost, very lost.
I can 100% lost. And was it a waste, and did it have an impact, and what's next, and what's it going to be for me? And am I going to be at Starbucks? Not that Starbucks is a bad place, but am I going to be at Starbucks as a barista because that's the only place that I could be useful? All of those crazy questions, right, come up.
Yeah, identity and self-worth, right? Because you can have a graduate degree. I work in this prestigious thing, and now who am I if I'm not recognizable to people in terms of what I do or acceptable? I went into event management for 5 years, which was stressful. I got fired twice in a year from jobs. I even tried to do executive admin work, which I'm so not qualified to do. I started a fashion importing business for 3 years. That was devastating because I couldn't keep it going, and I had set all my sense of worth and success onto that, enmeshed it. And then even as a coach, health coaching I knew wasn't it, but it was a stepping stone. And so I never knew that what I do today exists. So I couldn't even plan to be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be an entrepreneur. I didn't think about it. I thought business was bad. It was going to ruin the environment. I mean, it was just I couldn't, it's just kind of and so my mantra has always been, if you just keep going, the next step will emerge. And so I just kept going. I kept, following the signs and asking people and informational research. And I tried the fashion industry. I tried opening a franchise. I considered so many different things until I began to realize what the threads were of my talents, and also what seemed to interest me. And it was taking personality. It was just, can I just figure out who I am? Why is this so hard? Why can't I get there? I'm smart, and I have no clue. And how is this possible? And so it was hard.
That message is going out to everyone, right? That it will happen. It will happen. Okay. All right. So let me go to the next slide.
Yes, absolutely. And so it has been definitely challenging, but that's okay because we are all everything counts towards where we're going, right? So today, if you're here and you're a visionary, a change maker, a purpose-driven entrepreneur, and you're forging a new paradigm of doing business that supports the greater good, you've tried all the best practices and things that said that they would help you, but they haven't in your marketing or business model, and you're just ready to break through those deeper fears, limiting mindsets, and old habits to create a more sustainable and profitable business that really reflects your genius and matches your vision. Like big, some people feel like they have a big vision. You're in the right place and you're not crazy and you're not alone. So, yes. So, chances are that you want to experience success that really is a reflection of your magic and your genius and what lights you up. You know, you want to unhook from the shoulds and the musts, and you want to become a genuine and intentional leader that creates a ripple effect of win-win-wins, right? You want to express yourself more. You want to say what you really want to say in a way that's more confident and grounded, and that really supports the values driven messages that you want to share with the world. And you want to grow an effective, harmonious team, community, business that really is a reflection of you and what matters most to you, right? So we can change the slide. So let's go back to our times, right? It matters. We're not living in a bubble, right? We are part of a greater elevation of consciousness, of a global community of billions of people. And what we're seeing now more and more is that the interconnectedness between us and the world more so than ever before. So, as we said before, we're going through our own evolution and we're experiencing those inner shifts, right? We're reassessing, reprioritizing. We are also noticing our outer circumstances are changing, right? The economy, consciousness, what matters to people, what seemed cool before is not cool anymore. So there's a sense of resonance. What was resonant before is not resonant now, especially in our marketing, especially if you're service based or transformational. And you might be noticing that, the bro marketing ways or the lifestyle way of just presenting yourself, people don't give a damn anymore. People want to know, do you understand my problems? Can you help me solve my problems? Do you actually care? Who the hell are you? And why should I listen to you? Right? Do you understand me as a human with more humanity? Right? And then there's also our own personal narratives and beliefs and habits that we might be needing to reframe, heal, and shift. Like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy to make money, or I'm not sure I'm qualified to be in business and to live the life I want. That's where we get to create deeper alignment within ourselves when we start to let go and heal of those old stories and beliefs from childhood and what have you, where um, that don't serve where we're going anymore. So we can change the slide. We can change the slide. There we go. All right, so this is something if you want to take a screenshot. This is part of your play work for later. So, we're all experiencing our leading edge because we're all undergoing and experiencing internal and external shifts, right? And so I broke some of these down again, so this you can have a visual. I'm very visual. So we're going through these inner shifts, right? These inner desires, this inner restlessness. Maybe we're craving more meaning in our work. Maybe we're feeling like we want to have more flexibility or freedom or joy or creativity. And we're wondering, how can I create more cohesion and add more of this into the work I do, right? Then we're experiencing external changes in our businesses and what our clients are demanding and in the world at large, right? It can be industry or culture specific. Maybe you've had a change in the vision that you have for your life, for your business. You've undergone health or relationship or family issues, and it's made you reprioritize some things. And there's also just honestly a really collective awakening to injustice. Our inner activists are coming out. We're tired of the patriarchy. We're looking at how extractivist and exploitative capitalism can be on so many people, and wondering, What new paradigms can we usher into the world to really create a change? And then we're looking at our own personal depth, spiritual kind of self leadership and evolution. What are the stories that I've been telling myself that don't serve where I want to go? What are the beliefs, fears, and habits that I keep indulging in that keep me holding me back? Where can I hold tighter boundaries and say no more and stay in my own lane and not, be a sponge to everyone else's feelings? And what kind of perception of myself and myself as a leader do I want to have? And what values really are representative of me today and of the kind of business and life that I want to have, right? These are all influences into, getting back on course, as well as, of course, the phase of your business, your openness to receiving information, your personal evolution, and just your openness to where you are and staying curious and not shutting down throughout the process, which I know is not always
Yeah,
easy.
that's a lot, right? Just all of these things creates for a noisy meditation.
It does, but it's important to acknowledge, like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like, there are different factors that are like shifting, like these little platonic shifts, like in the Earth's crust, and it's like it causes this like little earthquakes. But it's good because it's shaking things up to create deeper alignment and for you to step into the next evolution of yourself that will benefit you and the world, right? So, next slide. So this is what I was talking about before. It's this notion that, a lot of the collective and personal consciousness is shifting from the traditional or more ego driven concepts of leadership, which is all about me focused. I rise. So for me to rise, I got to hustle, got to work harder. I'm going to compete, and
Yeah.
outcompete the other people. Screw it if it's not sustainable, or you feel trapped, you're trying to fit in and you're feeling overwhelmed. And we're shifting from the traditional kind of ego driven, me focused leadership to the soul driven leadership of we. So we're going from I rise to we rise. What does it take in my choices, my beliefs, who I'm being and embodying to make choices in my life and in my business that will support the we, not just the me? You know what I mean? And so when we operate more from the soul and leading from the soul in our leadership, which creates this ripple effect of win win wins, the 360 win, there's more flow, more inspiration, more expression, there's more sustainability, it's more collaborative and inclusive. And it's asking questions that are expansive, that include everyone versus excluding some so that just a few can get ahead. And there's a lot more flow. And that's what we're craving, that's what we're demanding, and that's what most of us are trying to figure out, both personally and in our businesses. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
All right, let's move on. All right, so this this is in my book, and you can use ascension as just growth or transformation or evolution model, right? Many people are. I've had clients tell me, I think I'm going through a spiritual awakening, or I feel like I'm undergoing an initiation, or I feel like I'm in this in between, right? This void between who I was and who I'm becoming, and I have no idea of the mush, this like the chrysalis face of what that is, right? It can feel scary, terrifying, and exciting. And so if you are finding yourself really noticing that you're going through a really significant inner transformation, that what used to satisfy you really doesn't, okay, trust that process, right? So, and this really takes you through from the bottom up. You might feel this opening or this cracking, like where how you perceive things, how you relate to people and circumstances just has changed. Like there's your eyes have like opened up, and even your relationship to your own divinity might have, and consciousness has expanded to the degree where you're asking different questions and there's no going back. So then there's this initiation. Then there's like, oh crap, I don't think I can do this, and then you kind of say, okay, I'm going to do it. And then identity crisis is really where many people might be finding themselves, which is like, Who am I? What am I here to do? Can I really do this? Who am I as a leader? There's so many questions and fewer answers. And that's the place of being patient, of being kind and gracious with yourself, and staying in the question as you move through this kind of chrysalis, messy phase. And then slowly you start to come out of that and then into the restructuring of your sense of self and who you're stepping into your next level of evolution. And then you step into with a new perspective of self, the world, and your leadership, which is a beautiful thing. This can take a few months, this can take a year or two. It really depends on your process, your openness to the journey. And I really created this based on my experience and some of my clients, because when I was going through this kind of transformation phase in my own sense of self, and really dismantling old beliefs about, do I really see myself as a leader? Do I want to lead? Do I really want to create a body of work? And really, what is my motivation behind it? Is it just to make me feel good and to show the world I'm successful? Or what is my deeper motivation? And really being like brutally honest with myself about all of this. And so I found that it was hard, but it also really created such a more solid, authentic, and genuine foundation from which to lead and to guide my vision in the world and my body of work forward. So this gives context. You know what
And
I mean?
this repeats, right? This repeats
Yes,
each time
exactly.
you do a transformation.
Yes, thank you. It evolves and this can happen in different areas of your life, even. It doesn't matter. There will be wake up calls. You'll be ascending, you'll be evolving. And with it will come new questions and new meltdowns. And that's okay. Think of the spiral, right? We evolve in a spiral, not linearly. So this is just if you want to also take a screenshot, this is kind of your play work where you can write down in the blank areas here, what are the inner shifts that you are noticing for yourself? What have been the external factors that have been affecting your life? And then what have been some of the stories and beliefs and stuff that you've had and values that really make you you? This is kind of something for you to contemplate. And this is what kind of like workshopping for yourself. Okay,
Great.
you can move on. So simple here. Being the visionary leader you were born to be, guess what? It begins with you. You are the blueprint that you've been asking for. You have the answers within yourself, and learning to trust yourself, to listen, to journal, to meditate, to walk in nature, to be in the inquiry of not knowing is so important, because at the end of the day, the buck starts and ends with you. Change the slide. So here are some questions for you to contemplate. Again, take a screenshot of this or maybe journal on this later. What does leadership mean to you? You might be seeing even more coaches or more people talk about leadership today. And when I got the archetype body of work in 2016, I had no idea why I was given an entire body of work on leadership. I'm like, that's ridiculous. What do I know about leadership? Well, self-leading leadership is the key to creating a world where everyone thrives, where we're not surviving, where really we're operating from our best. So this also means that we get to ask ourselves, what kind of a leader do we want to be? What aspects of your leadership do you appreciate? Do you even know what's great about your leadership? Where would you like to improve? Is it your communication, negotiation, listening skills, confidence, visibility? And what old beliefs and programming around leadership and being a leader do you want to unhook from and reprogram? Like, oh, I'm not a leader, or I'm not a good leader, or who would follow me? It's time to surface these so that you can workshop them and not let them stop you.
Yeah, they can, right? You can carry that forward, especially if you've left corporate and had some toxic, management in the past. Shedding that and rebirthing yourself into a new leadership role that is independent of others' opinions is work. Like you said, it's a workshop, and I'm sure that's something you help people with.
You have to unlearn and deprogram your notions of what you've been taught, or your perceptions of what a leader and leadership is, and really then have the courage to define it for yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful.
All right, so the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes. This is a great place, make a note, priscillastephan.com/quiz, where you can identify after the fact, if you're curious, which of the 5 Soulfluent Leadership archetypes you are, right? These are ways to understand your soul's leadership language, the energies that you use, the innate talents and gifts that you, and style of leading that's natural to you. So you're not trying to be some version of a leader you think you ought to be, but you're just being authentic and genuine. And that authenticity, that transparency, and that integrity is what resonates, what's magnetic, and which really transmits those that are ready to receive your services and your products and your mission, right? And so there are 5 archetypes. I am the mystic. I think probably you are too, Catherine. You can have more than one archetype, but we all have one dominant one that informs how we grow and lead in our businesses. So there's the mystic, the visionary, the strategist, the explorer, and the divine feminine. The mystic will use our intuitive, healing, and creative abilities to elevate consciousness and to promote harmony and well-being. Visionaries, of course, are disruptors that use strategy and out-of-the-box thinking to create new paradigms where would the world be without us visionaries? Strategists are very data-driven, and they streamline very complex data and concepts and simplify them in ways that impact millions. Think of computer programmers, lawyers, scientists. They work with very complex information and bring it down so we can understand some really important concepts. The explorer really is very experiential and uses their imagination and connections and possibilities to really activate change in the world. They're the kind that jumps in the water and figures out how to swim. They're all very highly experiential. And then there's the divine feminine that builds businesses for and with community. They're highly community driven. We all have these in us, but there's one that dominates how we lead. And in my book, we look at the 6 key business areas that are influenced by your archetype: your branding, your marketing, your manifesting style, your vision, your business model, team building, how you deal with money, how you show up visibly. And so once you identify your archetype, in the book, we look at your branding words, branding colors, examples of businesses that reflect each of these archetypes. So you can see yourself reflected in them and how they're growing and speaking about what they do. There are reflection questions. I mean, there's so much in the book, as well as the ascension model. And it's really an invitation to help you understand the power of your soul to help you lead and make the world a better place. Okay, we can move on. So really the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes, why now and why do they matter? Because we're really seeking more genuine, authentic, and truthful ways to lead in the world. And your archetype is really your soul's language of leadership. It's accessing key energies already within yourself that are natural and potent. It's about creating this ripple effect of win-win-wins, right? I win, you win, the business wins, our client wins, the environment wins, the planet wins, right? How do you make decisions where there's a chain reaction of positive ripple effects, right? It's about looking at the we versus just the me. It's about making conscious choices, aware choices based on values, natural gifts, and alignment. It's about sourcing your answers from within versus looking at outside influences and what everyone else is doing instead, and staying curious and open to exploring what's next for you. Next slide. So why now, right? The archetypes show you how to identify, access, and trust yourself with your way of doing things. And I cannot stress this enough. When I said that the blueprint is you have everything you need within you, but that takes courage, curiosity, exploration, trial and error. And there's a part of us that just wants certainty. But how can we find certainty within ourselves versus certainty in other people and formulas and templates, right? And our times are calling for new paradigms, for new leaders that are more inclusive and asking better questions, and new paradigms where we all win, right? And your archetype shows you this and lots more.
I think I'd have to say I'm the mystic, by nature and the strategist by education and experience. I think
There
that
you go.
learned comes in to drive that because I'm a scientist by education. So,
Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, yes. And so alignment, you might have heard in the coaching world a lot, oh, alignment, soul aligned clients, soul aligned this. Really, in the book, alignment is described as the ultimate tool for resource maximization. So it's really optimization. When you're in alignment with your gifts, your business model, your marketing, you're getting the biggest bang out of your buck for where you're spending your time, your energy, your money, right?
and I'm happy you're defining that for us because I see a lot of people that say soul aligned, soul heart based. I'm like, what does all that mean? Like, you know, people like to use those words, but don't necessarily help people self-identify with what that means. So they just skip right over it.
Yeah, and so alignment means that in my world, that your values, how you're leading, the gifts that you are aware of and utilizing are all being are happening in conjunction. So there is a sense of who you are, what you are expressing, and what you are embodying. There's this resonance, and because it's all there, it's all you, right? You're not trying to be or suppressing or repressing parts of yourself and trying to be someone else, right? The more you are, the more in alignment with the truest essence of you really are. Alignment's just about being honest and being truthful about what's true for you in any given moment, because the truth can change for you as you
Yeah,
evolve.
it does. And I just want to remind you guys, if you're just joining us, drop a question. If you've missed some of it, don't worry about it. Um, the quiz is in the chat, so you can take the quiz. And then if you have would like more information, I dropped the link to the book as well. So we'll just keep moving, but welcome.
Yeah, so the archetypes are a natural part of our human nature, and it's really a way for us to access energies that are already within us. So we're not like grabbing things from outside ourselves. We're pulling from what's already within us. And so in the book, and then the Soulfluent Leadership Archetypes, leadership is defined as contribution. Contribution in my world is defined as adding value. Guess what? We are all adding value. Mothers, teachers, janitors, CEOs, marketers, scientists, computer programmers, mystics. We're all adding value in our own way. Therefore, we're all leaders. Exciting part is that it levels the playing field. You don't need degrees. You don't need tons of experience. You have value to add innately by nature because you exist. And that means that then you get to decide through conscious choice how you want to apply your value into the world. So you're coming from a place of abundance. And that's scary and exhilarating. It's scary because you're like, oh, I'm not a leader. What do I do? No. Well, then you get to choose. I don't believe in leadership through obligation. I believe in leadership through choice. It feels much more expansive to you. I want you to consciously choose, I'm in or I'm out. It's not about good or bad. It's just you consciously choosing, not denying, suppressing, pretending you're not something. It's about, okay, I want to do this or I don't. And that's okay. But consciously choosing matters.
Yes.
So this is my friend, colleague Heather. She's a strategist. I just thought this would be nice to just say how, when she really underwent this kind of concept of what leadership meant for her. She says, how she used to believe that leadership was how you told people what to do, and that she would either be a jerk or kind. And she had more examples of the jerk archetype than a nice leader. But then she realized that she got a new perspective on leadership, and it helped her see that how you show up in the world, whether you're in charge or an employee, really wasn't the issue. Is that you get to decide how you want to show up and who you want to be in the world, and to stop downplaying your talents. So
Hmm.
it's really nice. So your archetype and your business, they matter, right? Every person has a unique way of integrating their gifts, right? So each of us mystics, we each are our own a little snowflake, and that means that the nuances about us and our energies and our experience and our talents, matter in terms of how we apply our mystic gifts, for example, into our business or our visionary gifts. And your archetype is that catalyst to get you on the right path that matches your current cycle of business and season of life. And I want to reiterate this. Your cycle of business, whether you're starting up or growing or plateauing or selling, like that matters. And your season of life matters, right? Some people have
Yes, for
decided to
sure.
retire. Some people are having a kid. Some people are having health issues. Like these need to factor into a holistic idea of what is my life like? How does the business fit into that? And what cycle am I in? Because then you're not making yourself wrong for slowing down or speeding up or comparing yourself to other people, you know?
It's super important.
And so the key is really to create alignment within all areas of your business with your archetype, right? And this is some of the feedback I've heard. Priscilla, I feel seen and heard. Finally, I'm working with myself instead of against myself. I have permission to be myself and not make myself wrong. And so that's the beauty of understanding yourself better. It gives you freedom and space to make choices that before you didn't see were possible. So next slide. So here are some questions for you. What's next for you in your business, right? What results would you like to experience next, right? What's the next level of your leadership and what's the next evolution that your business is asking for? And what alignment needs tweaking? Is it your offerings or your pricing? Is it your business model? Do you need new team members? Do you need to work through some inner beliefs and fears that have been holding you back? Maybe it's your money story. Maybe it's your business entity or business name. Maybe it's your idea of how small or how big your business can go and any limitations and limiting beliefs that you feel have been getting in the way. So these are some questions. Take a screenshot if you want, or just these are some things for you to contemplate and be curious about. Next slide. So here again, reflection time. Think about your message. How resonant is it in your audience? Are you really speaking to the right people? Like for me, I had to really refine that I work with conscious leaders and I really work with established leaders. It's not my strong suit to work with newbies or people who don't have a clue what they're doing because it's just not what I'm good at. I like to help people grow the foundations that they have. And I also help them build bodies of work from scratch in the Akashic Records, where I get to connect to your soul guides and connect to the essence of you, and then impart that guidance from your soul guides as to your marketing and sales pages or book outlines. So much I can impart and convey to you from your soul so that you are on the right track and really have a comprehensive vision that's aligned to you and the work that you really feel called and are meant to do in the world. And then look at your business model. Are you happy with the clients and the audience and the offers you have? And then look at your money. Are you making as much money as you like? And in fact, the message, the business model, and the money, these are the core 3 levers in business that are really key to look at with your archetype. Right? Is your message really in alignment? Is your business model really how you provide your services? Is that really in alignment? And are you getting the rewards for your efforts that are in alignment with the input of energy and resources that you're putting in? And so this is my coach, and also she helped me develop the Soulfluent body of work. And she is a divine feminine archetype, and she is an example of how she realized that she was operating very much in the visionary energy that was burning her out, doing too much alone. And she really is more of a divine feminine energy where she builds offers and designs her business that is much more community centered and driven. And that gives her so much more ease. So she doesn't feel like she's the guide leading everyone, but where she's holding the space for everyone to lead and contribute to something greater. So here are examples of what's possible when you're aligned with your archetype. Right? You can create an expansive revenue plan. You can launch new programs that sell out. You can take in-person to online offers. You can, craft a really great talk or outline a new book. Really launch a new brand and offers that really are for our times and that reflect your true genius. And also add new members and increase your prices in a way that really feels juicy and exciting for you. So what insights have you had about your business and how you're showing up? Is it a sticky belief? Is it a fear around money? Is it that you're sick and tired of some things and you just don't know how to go about it? Is it that you just need to deepen into your own leadership and understanding of yourself? Do you just need to be in that void for a little bit and trust it with grace and patience? Those are some questions to just consider. And here's a great screenshot question. I know it's a mouthful. What shifts do you need to make in your business so it operates more efficiently, supports your most ideal clients, and rewards you abundantly in terms of time, energy, and money, right? So, what are some shifts to make to your message, your business model, or to how you bring in money so that the business really works for you more efficiently? Next slide.
I was going to
Yeah.
try to type that. I'm like, that's not going to, I can't type,
It's
and
hard. I
we're just
know.
like,
I
we'll
know.
see.
And then really it comes down to great starting points. What are your values? For me, flexibility, generosity, kindness, integrity, excellence, and truth really matter to me. This is, when I get scared and when I don't know where to go, like, what's the truth? What's the truth here? What's the true thing for me to say? What's true, not the right thing, but what's true for me? What is my heart wanting to express? What does my soul want to express, right? So, what values do you want to embody in your leadership moving forward? And what values do you want your business to represent? It can be as simple as maybe adding your value statement or a mission statement to your website, conveying that more in your content and in your marketing, and really saying the things that you want to say. One of the things that I say on my website, on my homepage, is that, businesses and dreams don't create success. Alignment does. And that's where your values, the way you really want to live your business, grow your business, really reflect who you are and what you want to create. It's a holistic approach to business where your values, your lifestyle, and your vision kind of integrate and are cohesive. And I think that's really important. And so, what beliefs are you disrupting, right? What paradigms are you crushing? What new perspective and new insights are you here to impart into the world? One of the things that took me so long, because I was like, why am I given a soul methodology? Why couldn't it be accounting? Why does it have to be so non-tangible? I'm like, how do I even describe
That's,
soul to
that's so
people?
funny and true, right?
But then the key is that I see for our times now that soul can be just your truest essence, your divine nature, what's deeply true and meaningful and purposeful for you. And people are craving that. And so, really allowing ourselves to lead from the truest, most pure, divine part of ourselves is what I think will be that invitation for a higher level of consciousness, for different choices that before might not have seemed available and true, and to just to stay open to expanding in our awareness and self-knowledge, and the energy of consciousness. Everything has consciousness. Your business, your books, your offers, teams. So how can we play with the energies of each person's consciousness and really work together to create something that's greater than ourselves? And yeah, when you know yourself better, you lead better. You can't help it, right? You're more
100%.
aware. And so through understanding your archetype, or whether you do other personality tests, it's really about, and it doesn't mean that you have to know yourself infinitely, because we're always a work in progress. But the more you understand, both in terms of your talents as well as your kryptonite, your shadow side, your downfall areas, and that in the book I talk about that. There are grids that talk about what's your kryptonite, how do you overcome it, what are some pitfalls in your archetype to be aware of, and how to navigate that. That means that you're not necessarily stuck in cycles of stagnation or just stuckness longer than you need to be, because you're aware, oh, there it is. Okay, let's do a U-turn here, a detour, and not just get stuck there.
I have a similar saying. I say, you have to know yourself to grow yourself. So that's just a cliche that I picked up along the way, but it's exactly
I
the
love it. I've never heard that, but I think that's perfect.
same. Yes.
So yeah,
Q&A.
yes, if anyone has any questions, feel free to share, or if you prefer to email me, you can email me at priscillastephan.com on the contact page on my website. This is time for you to ask yourself those exciting questions, and I know this is a lot. It's a lot to contemplate, but you know what? I just want you to know that you're not crazy, and I'm here to normalize this kind of a woo part of us. It's so funny because we're all spiritual beings. We all are about energy. We are all energy. So this notion that, oh, I have to be careful to show how woo I am is, I think, just cracks me up and pisses me off, because we all feel, I feel like this is like an old societal way of diminishing our power, our intuition, our insight, our inner knowing, when those are so powerful tools, and that we have to feel like we have to, people won't accept
Suppress.
us or
Yeah,
suppress because they won't take us seriously. And here's a copy of my book. You can go to the URL is there, priscillastephan.com
put it in
/book.
there again.
There's the print version, which is 8.5 by 11 in all color, which I highly recommend, because the book is really, it's a reference guide. Or there is a Kindle version um, as well. And so I really recommend the book, the insights, you just see there, this book will change the game and how businesses are built. And while I was very honored by Carrie's comment on the cover of the book, I really feel like, that's the potential that this work has to do, to bring our soul and our visions together and to create magic from there.
Magic is what we love. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and defining soul aligned businesses. And what about the records? Give us, we didn't really break into that.
Yes,
We're over time, but
yes.
tell me a little bit more about that.
So the Akashic Records are defined as kind of the database of your soul, or the library of everything that your soul has experienced. So it's really an ethereal space where you get to connect to your soul guides who have known you for all eternity, and it's a space where you connect through a prayer. Anyone can learn how to access their own Akashic Records. I teach how to access your own Akashic Records if you're interested, and then how to read the records of others. But it's really a space of truth and love where you get to connect to your guides and to your soul, and to ask questions about anything that matters to you, and past, present, or all infinite possibilities of the future. And to receive, and really, to me, it's a way for you to connect more deeply to your divine self, to your soul, and to allow your soul to guide and inform and influence all of your decisions moving forward. And my specialty is doing that in business, and in your leadership more specifically. But people specialize or have much broader, expertise in the records. Like, they can do healing, they can do health stuff, they can do all kinds of stuff. I help people design and expand their bodies of work and grow their businesses from the soul out in the records. It can be very rich, very detailed, and because you're doing energy work in it,
Mhm.
it really shifts you powerfully.
Sounds really interesting. Maybe we'll have to do um, a group workshop in the Facebook group, but we'll have to talk about that later. All
Sure.
right, so I am going to wrap the show. I know people have bopped in and out. You know that this recording is on all of the platforms, that are possible. And if anybody has any questions afterwards, we'll check the comments. You can reach out to Priscilla. I've put all of her notes. You know how to get into contact with her if you are interested in being a guest on the Art of Inspired Selling, and you have an inspirational message to help people sell more and to create more success in this world. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to have you as a guest on the show. Thank you so much, Priscilla. Also, uh, we'll just talk about another time, where I'm launching a new group training program with a very good friend of mine, Chandra Gore. So we will stay tuned, because we'll have more information on how to build an online press kit. And the group training is called Press Me. So we will get all that information out. Stay here, Priscilla. I